In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. It's written in a language and in a style that we are not used to. So when we recall the words of Isaiah the prophet, who has said, He, meaning God, has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, lest they should see with their eyes and understand with their heart, lest they should turn so that I should heal them. It seems to us that God is at cross purposes with himself. Because how can one who died on the cross because of his love for mankind allow someone to remain in a situation where they are hard of heart and who lack sight? So it cannot mean what we would normally arrive at in the logic of clear rhetoric today. It simply does not mean that. It means rather that because they were looking for something, the Lord stayed away because it was an offense to them that he should appear in the manner that he did. They were offended by his apparent weakness. They were offended by his lack of pomp and circumstance, ceremony, by the fact that if you will recall, in the newspaper, when it looked like there would be the new heir to the throne of England, the British tabloids cried out, "The Prince of Wales," meaning the child was crying. And when he was born, it was not with a silver spoon in his mouth, it was with a golden spoon. So, if you have aspirations, think about how the people in Egypt were during the time of the pharaohs. They, on some level, consented to almost all of their gross domestic product being spent on funerary monuments, such that now the world goes to see the pyramids and all of the other kinds of things that bespeak the nobility and the lineage of their king, who was a descendant from the sun god. So, in like manner, the Jews, in their offense, the Lord said to them, if you will not see, I am not going to force you to see. See, when will is there, when you ask the Lord for something, you may be blind. There are many stories in the Bible about blind people who have received their sight. Why not then the Jews? Because they were content with the vision that they had. They had a purpose for their existence, and they were waiting for the one who is going to fill the niche so that they could follow him in their pride. Not to follow him into righteousness or in truth. They weren't expecting the Prince of Peace. They were expecting the Prince of this world. And as the Lord has said, he has nothing in me. So the Jews and people today, those who call themselves with some sort of pride, agnostic or atheistic, the Lord is not going to do anything to soften their hearts. It's not like the man who says, I know I am blind, or I know I am confused, and I wish to see. I beg you, if you exist, whoever you are, whose name I am not sure of, I beg you, as Moses the Black in his prayer, I beg you, if you are there, to do this thing for me that I might see. Well, then the Lord has compassion. Then the Lord has mercy. And then it is within the whole purview of his Father's economy that everything be done for that person. Because you have announced yourself and defined yourself as wanting. I am in need. I am in need. But when you come stout of heart with a steady vision and a purposeful mind and say, if you be who you say you are, get off the cross and we'll believe you. Nothing happened, did it? I mean, could you imagine the power of God and what, had he been a shallow person as I am, done? Whoa. There would have been crosses and Jews that would have been lining the road to Jerusalem. And I'd be driving by in the golden chariot with the wheels of fire from heaven, along with a couple of my friends, Enoch and Elijah, on other sides, handling the reins and going, I'm down. God could have done anything, but in his kindness and in his humility, he taught us how to believe in something that was beyond the physical. You know, in the beginning, when Jesus was teaching love, he said, all people will know that you are my disciples because you love one another. And in days of old, people used to use things and love people. But now, today, people love things and use people. So the whole subversion of this is inimical with a man of faith. Because a man of faith does not look to the material. He looks to the spiritual. And he exercises his faith in things that are not concrete, although to him he calls them substance. The substance of things unseen. For us it's real. For the skeptic, oh, look at the pathetic loaf of bread. And look at the Manischewitz wine and water. It's pathetic. What fools. Who could believe that? Me. I believe it. So it is to such that the Lord gives power and dignity. And he gives it without measure. He gives it even though those who claim to know him and claim to serve him fail him on so many occasions. Fail him miserably. But still, in his love, he says, the manner of your failure is not offensive to me. It is because of the weakness of your flesh. But the intent of your spirit is to be with me. The intent of your spirit is to join, to have this deep communal relationship, to be one body, to live in one house. He said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. There's a great book called Mansions of the Spirit. It's an anthology. You can read a bunch of different kinds of analyses about spiritual life. It was given to me by a professor in English because he noticed that I was a believer when I was younger. So I know it may not be in print, but it's out there in libraries because he found a copy and he put it in my hands. It was quite unexpected. The Mansion mansions of the Spirit. And this is where our natural abode is. This is where we will dwell. This is the house of God. The house of God that militates on earth and that embraces in heaven triumphantly. Glory be to God's holy name, both now and ever, and to the age of all ages. Amen.